So you've decided to look into online betting, huh? And you're specifically interested in Spain, right? I bet it feels like a jungle out there.
Tons of sites, tons of promises, and probably a ton of questions too.
That's exactly why we're doing this deep dive. Think of it like we're cutting through all the noise and getting right to what matters in the Spanish online betting world.
And we've got a great compass for this journey, betplace.com.
Oh, yeah. They seem pretty legit.
Especially their article, Top 10 Best Betting Sites in Spain, Best Apps and Sites. It's like having a friend who's already checked out all the hot spots and is giving us the inside scoop.
I like that. A trusted friend. So what we're going to do is pull out the gems from BetPlace's analysis. Like, what are the rules? Who are the big players? What can you actually bet on?
Right. Like, is it just sports or can you play poker too?
Exactly. And then, of course, all the practical stuff, like how do you move your money around? What about those bonuses they always shout about? Are they worth it?
The mobile experience is huge these days too.
Absolutely. Got to be able to bet on the go. And, of course, we've got to talk about responsible gambling.
It's important to play it safe.
Definitely. And we'll even try to peek into the future a bit, see where things might be headed.
Sounds like we've got a lot to cover.
Yeah. But by the end of this, you should feel pretty confident about navigating the Spanish online betting scene. No more feeling lost in the jungle.
Let's get into it then.
Okay, so BetPlace kicks things off by showing just how much online betting has exploded in Spain. Any surprising numbers?
Well, according to a TGM sports betting survey from late 2022, which BetPlace references, over a third of all adults in Spain, like 38.7%, had placed a bet on sports in the past year.
Wow, that's way more than I expected. So it's not just a niche thing anymore?
Not at all. It's becoming pretty mainstream.
Makes sense. You see ads for it everywhere these days. But does everyone who bets do it all the time? What does BetPlace say about that?
Well, they dug into the survey a bit deeper and found that while about 21.6% of people bet a few times a week.
Okay, so those are the diehards.
You could say that, yeah. But then a slightly bigger chunk, around 25.5%, they only bet a few times a year or even less.
So it's a mix. Some people are really into it and others just like a little flutter every now and then.
Exactly. And the market caters to both.
Now, BetPlace really hammers home the fact that online and mobile betting is where it's at now. Like, nobody's going to the corner shop to place bets anymore.
Pretty much. They highlight that a whopping 76.67% of sports fans who bet are doing it online or through apps.
The convenience is undeniable. Just whip out your phone and boom, you've placed a bet.
Absolutely. But with so much action happening online, you need someone to make sure everything's above board.
Someone to keep things honest, you mean?
Yeah, and that's where the DGOJ comes in, as BetPlace mentions.
The DDOJ.
The Directorate General for the Regulation of Gambling. They work under the Spanish Gambling Act of 2011, and basically they're the ones who hand out licenses to all these online betting operators.
So they're like the gatekeepers, making sure these sites are playing by the rules.
Exactly. And having that license is crucial. It gives you, the player, a level of protection, knowing that things are legit.
It's like a seal of approval.
Yeah.
I guess BetPlace uses that license as a key factor when they evaluate these sites.
Absolutely. A licensed site means a safer bet for you.
And speaking of safe bets, BetPlace mentions who's currently at the top of the game, according to the TGM survey. Who's winning the popularity contest?
Well, the survey BetPlace highlights points to BT365 as the current leader in Spain.
I've heard of them. They're pretty big, right?
Yeah, they've got a huge global presence.
Makes sense. So big picture, we've got a rapidly growing market, a huge shift towards online and mobile, and the all-important DGOJ keeping everyone in check.
That sums it up pretty well.
Okay, now let's dive a bit deeper into the legal side of things, because that's crucial, right? BetPlace mentions Law 13/2011 as the backbone of online gambling regulation in Spain. What's the gist of it?
So this law, it's not just about sports betting. It covers basically everything online gambling related. Casinos, poker, lotteries, the whole shebang.
Sounds comprehensive.
It is. And the key thing is, this law made it mandatory for anyone offering these services online to get a license from the DGOJ. That's your guarantee as a player that the site's operating legally and fairly.
Right, it goes back to that seal of approval we talked about.
Exactly.
And you mentioned earlier how that DGOJ license translates to actual tangible benefits for the players, right?
Yeah, think of it like this. Let's say you have a dispute with a licensed betting site. Maybe you feel like something wasn't handled fairly.
Happens all the time in any industry, I guess.
Sure. But here's the thing. With a licensed site, you can actually go to the DGOJ and file a complaint. They have procedures in place to deal with these situations and make sure things are resolved fairly.
You've got someone on your side, someone who can actually do something.
Whereas with an unlicensed site, you're pretty much on your own.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So BetPlace is steering us towards those licensed sites because they're just a safer bet all around. Now, BetPlace briefly mentioned something about regional regulations for land-based gambling. Does that affect the online world at all?
Well, the regions in Spain do have some control over physical betting locations, like casinos. So there might be some differences between a casino in Barcelona and one in Seville, for example.
Okay, local rules.
Yeah, but when it comes to online betting, the DGOJ license overrides all that. It's the one consistent factor no matter where in Spain you are.
Got it. So, assuming a site's got that all-important DGOJ license, what else is BetPlace looking at to decide if it's worth your time and money?
Well, they've got a bunch of criteria, and one of the big ones is user experience.
Makes sense. You don't want to be struggling with a clunky website or app, especially when you're trying to place a bet quickly.
Exactly. BetPlace prioritizes sites that are intuitive, easy to navigate, and generally pleasant to use. Think clean design, clear instructions, that kind of thing.
Nobody wants to miss a bet because they couldn't figure out how to use the site. What else matters to BetPlace?
Payment options are another big one. A good site should offer a variety of ways to deposit and withdraw your money. Credit cards, debit cards, e-wallets like PayPal or Skrill, even bank transfers.
Choices are good.
And BetPlace also looks at how transparent the site is about fees. Are there hidden costs? How quickly can you actually get your winnings? You don't want to be waiting weeks for your money.
No, you don't. And what about if you run into a problem? Maybe you have a question or something's not working right. What about customer support?
BetPlace stresses that good customer service is essential. You want to be able to reach out easily and get help quickly. So they look for sites that offer 24/7 live chat, email support, maybe even phone support.
So basically multiple ways to get help and quick response times.
Exactly, because good customer support builds trust. It shows they actually care about their players.
And speaking of specific sites, BetPlace did give some shout-outs to those who are doing things right.
They did. Like, they highlighted PAF for having a great user experience, good e-wallet options, and 24/7 live chat.
Sounds like a good starting point.
Yeah, and then there's Bwin, which they mentioned for its user-friendly interface and its credit card and email support.
Solid. Any others?
They also gave William Hill a thumbs up for its user experience, its variety of payment methods, and its responsive chat support.
So they're ticking a lot of boxes.
They are. And then there's Leo Vegas, which BetPlace praised for its excellent user interface, multiple payment options, and the fact that they offer both live chat and phone support.
Those are some pretty solid recommendations. So we know what makes a site good, but now for the million-dollar question. Who are the top dogs in Spain right now, looking ahead to the next couple of years?
Well, BetPlace takes into account all the things we've talked about. User feedback, how well the site performs technically, and its overall reputation.
Okay, so it's a holistic view.
Definitely. Plus, they consider the value of the promotional offers like welcome bonuses and how much variety they offer in terms of different sports and types of bets you can place.
Makes sense. So who's making waves according to BetPlace?
Well, Bet365 always comes up. BetPlace points out their extensive live betting options, those occasional risk-free bets they offer, and their really highly rated mobile app.
Heard good things about their app.
Yeah, it's pretty slick. Then there's William Hill, who BetPlace notes for their focus on La Liga, their welcome bonus, and their mobile-optimized experience.
Got to cater to the football fans, eh?
Absolutely. And then Unibet gets a shout-out for their wide variety of live streaming options, their ongoing promotions, and their user-friendly mobile interface.
BetPlace really seems to value a good mobile experience.
It's essential these days. You got to be able to bet from anywhere.
For sure. Now, speaking of catering to the fans, Spain is absolutely crazy for football. What does BetPlace say about the best options specifically for sports betting fanatics?
Well, as BetPlace points out, the Spanish sports betting market is super competitive. There are over 40 legal bookmakers vying for your attention.
Wow, that's a lot of choices.
It is, and that competition is good for you as a bettor. It usually means better odds and more options to choose from.
So, more bang for your buck.
You could say that, yeah.
And BetPlace mentions some of the big players.
Right, they do. You've got the local favorites like Coder, Luquia, and Casino Gran Madrid.
Familiar names.
And then there are the international giants like Leo Vegas, Bet365, and Betway.
A good mix.
Yeah.
So what are the key things that BetPlace looks for in a top-notch sports betting site?
Well, apart from a wide selection of sports, they look at how competitive the odds are. Basically how much you can potentially win.
Right, the potential payout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They also look at the variety of bets you can place. Can you bet on more than just who wins or loses? And of course, live betting is huge these days.
Being able to bet while the game's happening.
Right. And cash out options are important too.
Being able to cut your losses or lock in a profit before the game's even over.
Yep. All these things contribute to a better betting experience.
BetPlace also mentions those welcome bonuses that sites use to lure new customers in. Are those always as good as they sound?
Well, that's where you need to be careful. BetPlace always stresses the importance of reading the fine print.
There's always a catch, isn't there?
Often, yeah. Like Leo Vegas offers a pretty generous bonus, up to 200 euros. Betway offers up to 100 euros. Even Bet365, they offer a smaller bonus, 50 euros, but they cover a lot of sports.
So lots of different offers out there.
But the key is to look beyond the headline number. BetPlace always reminds people to check things like the wagering requirements.
Wagering requirement.
It's basically how many times you have to bet the bonus amount before you can actually withdraw any winnings.
So you can't just cash out immediately?
Nope. And there might be minimum odds restrictions too, and time limits. So yeah, always read the terms and conditions.
Good advice. BetPlace has your back. And it seems like mobile compatibility is non-negotiable these days.
Pretty much. BetPlace emphasizes that almost all the top sites have dedicated apps for Android and iOS.
It's all about betting on the go.
Exactly. And these apps are usually packed with features. You can live stream games, get mobile-specific promotions, and manage your money securely.
That's pretty convenient.
It is. And for those who don't want to download an app, most sites have mobile-friendly websites too.
So there's really no excuse not to bet on your phone these days.
Not really, no.
And BetPlace was kind enough to put together a handy table comparing some of the key players. What stood out to you from their analysis?
Well, you can see at a glance things like the welcome bonus, how many sports they cover, whether they have that cash out feature, and of course, if they have the DGOJ license.
All the important stuff.
Like BetPlace shows that Leo Vegas has a 200 euro bonus, covers over 40 sports, has cash out, a good mobile platform, and is fully licensed.
Sounds pretty comprehensive.
Then there's Betway with a 100 euro bonus, over 30 sports, cash out, mobile access, and the license.
Solid options.
And even though Bet365 has a smaller bonus, BetPlace highlights that they cover over 50 sports, have cash out, a strong mobile app, and of course, the license.
So it really depends on your priorities.
Exactly. BetPlace gives you the information, you make the choice.
Now, BetPlace goes into a bit more detail about two heavyweights in the Spanish market, Bet365 and William Hill. What makes Bet365 so dominant in their view?
Well, they've got a massive user base worldwide, and in Spain, they're consistently a top choice, especially for football betting. BetPlace highlights their easy-to-use design, tons of betting options, competitive odds, and a good range of payment methods, including PayPal and Skrill.
So they're kind of the all-rounder.
Yeah, they do a lot of things well, and they've been around since 2000, covering over 30 sports with live betting and 24/7 support.
Definitely a veteran in the field. What about William Hill? They've been around even longer, right?
Much longer, since 1934. And BetPlace acknowledges that long history of trust and experience.
I guess that counts for something in this industry.
It does, and they've kept up with the times. BetPlace notes their focus on providing quality odds, a great mobile experience, easy sign-up, and excellent customer support.
It sounds like they've got a good handle on what modern bettors want.
Yeah, and they also offer a good selection of payment methods, including PayPal, credit and debit cards, and Trustly. They cover over 20 sports, have live betting, and 24/7 support.
So they're combining that long history with modern features.
Exactly.
A good blend.
Now, it's not just sports betting in Spain, right? BetPlace also covers online casinos, which are booming, apparently.
Oh, yeah, they're huge. BetPlace mentions they brought in almost 274 million euros, which is like 36% of all online gaming revenue.
That's a significant chunk. What are people playing in these online casinos?
Well, slots are always popular. BetPlace says they're a big draw.
The classic one-armed bandit.
Exactly. Then there are the classic table games like roulette and blackjack.
Always a crowd pleaser.
And live dealer games are becoming really popular too. BetPlace says they bring that real casino atmosphere to your screen.
I can see the appeal.
Definitely adds to the immersion.
But what about the regulatory side of things? Has that impacted online casinos, according to BetPlace? Oh, yeah, for sure. BetPlace mentions that over 50 casino sites left the market because of stricter regulations.
So they couldn't cut it.
Yeah, basically. But that's good for you as a player. It means the sites that are left are more likely to be legit and trustworthy.
Makes sense. So it's a case of quality over quantity.
You could say that. And BetPlace also notes that these licensed sites tend to have really user-friendly interfaces and are powered by reputable software providers. So you're getting a good experience overall.
And BetPlace gave a few examples of good casino sites, right?
They did, like Casino Barcelona. They've got a good selection of slots, roulette, and blackjack. They use well-known providers like Microgaming and NetNet, and they offer a 100% welcome bonus.
Sounds enticing. Any others?
They also mentioned Lukia, which has slots, live casino, and poker options. They use Evolution Gaming and Plainja for their software, and they give you 50 free spins as a welcome offer.
So they're sweetening the deal.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's 888 Casino. BetPlace notes that they offer slots, baccarat, and live dealer games from providers like NetTent and Playtech with a welcome bonus of up to 200 euros.
That's a pretty generous offer.
It is. And finally, there's Betfair Casino. They've got a mix of slots, table games, and even sports betting. They use software from IGT and Evolution Gaming. And they sometimes offer 30 free spins without even needing a deposit.
So there's something for everyone.
Absolutely.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about online poker. BetPlace covers that too, right?
They do. And they mentioned that it's grown quite a bit in Spain since around 2011.
So it's not just a fad.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And BetPlace points to PokerStars, 888 Poker, and Party Poker as some of the leading platforms.
Big names in the poker world.
Definitely. And they each have their own strengths, which BetPlace lays out pretty clearly.
Like what?
Well, PokerStars Spain has the most players online at any given time, like around 2,975 on average.
So it's buzzing with activity.
Yeah, and they've got shared player liquidity with France and Italy, so there are bigger tournaments and prize pools. They offer welcome bonuses, reload bonuses, and even VIP schemes.
Sounds like a serious poker player's paradise.
It is. Then there's 888 Poker Spain, which has around 556 players on average. BetPlace likes their innovative tournament formats, and 204 have 7 customer support. They offer tournament tickets and free rolls too.
So they're good for both casual and serious players.
Yeah, they cater to a broad audience. Then you've got Party Poker Spain, with a smaller average of over 100 players. BetPlace praises their good mobile experience and regular promotions, like welcome bonuses and cashback offers.
So they're good for those who like to play on the go.
Definitely. And then there's iPoker Spain, with around 200 plus players on average. They're smaller, but BetPlace says they focus on specific poker variants and offer multiplayer bonuses and live tournament opportunities.
So it's all about finding the platform that suits you best. Now, we've mentioned bonuses a few times, and BetPlace always dives into those in detail. Why are they such a big deal in the online betting world?
Well, bonuses and promotions are basically how these sites attract new players and keep the existing ones happy.
The classic marketing tactic.
Pretty much. And for players, it can be a nice boost to your bankroll or give you extra chances to win.
Who doesn't love free stuff?
Right. But BetPlace always reminds people that there are different types of bonuses, and they don't all work the same way.
So you got to be savvy about it.
Exactly. Like there's the classic match bonus where the site matches a percentage of your first deposit.
Double your money.
Yeah, but up to a certain limit, of course. BetPlace gives the example of Keydrop offering a 100% match up to 500 euros.
That's pretty generous.
It is. Then there are no deposit bonuses, which are less common, but basically you get something for free without even putting any money in.
Oh, those are the best kind.
Definitely. And then there are free spins or free cases, which are more common in online casinos. Keydrop, for example, advertises up to 1,000 free cases.
So there are lots of different offers to be aware of.
There are. And it's not just about attracting new players either. Betting sites offer ongoing promotions for existing users too.
Keep them coming back for more.
Exactly. So there are things like reload bonuses, which you get on subsequent deposits after your first one.
Okay, so they reward loyalty.
Yeah, in a way. And cashback offers are popular too, where you get a percentage of your net losses back over a certain period.
So it softens the blow a bit.
It does. And then there are exclusive promotions for regular players like Keydrop's daily reward system, where you might get free in-game items or bonus money.
Sounds like there's always something to take advantage of.
Yeah, but here's the thing. BetPlace always stresses the importance of reading the terms and conditions.
Right, got to watch out for the fine print.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because most bonuses have wagering requirements, which means you have to bet the bonus amount a certain number of times before you can actually withdraw any winnings.
It's not just free money.
Nope. And there might be restrictions on which games you can play with the bonus and time limits too. So yeah, read the rules carefully.
BetPlace is looking out for us.
They are.
Now, We've talked a lot about mobile betting, and BetPlace really emphasizes how important it is. What's their take on the overall mobile experience in Spain?
They say it's very advanced, which makes sense given how many people use smartphones and tablets these days.
It's the world we live in.
Exactly. And BetPlace says most of the big bookmakers in Spain have dedicated apps for both Android and iOS.
So you can bet on the go, no problem.
And these apps are usually well-designed and packed with features. You can access all the same sports markets and betting options as on the website, plus you can often live stream games right in the app.
Talk about convenience.
And BetPlace mentions that some platforms even have mobile-specific promotions, like better odds or free bets just for using the app.
Nice little perk.
Yeah. And when it comes to managing your money, most of these apps have a wide range of payment methods. Credit cards, debit cards, e-wallets, even pay by mobile sometimes.
So you're covered on all fronts.
Pretty much. BetPlace also points out that some sites, like Great Win and Leon Bet, have low minimum deposit amounts, so you don't have to put in a lot of money to get started.
That's good for those who are just dipping their toes in.
Exactly. And if you don't want to download an app, most sites have mobile-optimized websites too, so you can bet through your browser.
So there's really no excuse not to bet on your phone these days.
Not really, no.
Now, we've got to talk about responsible gambling because BetPlace always emphasizes how important that is.
Yeah.
What's the situation in Spain and what kind of measures are in place?
Well, BetPlace acknowledges that problem gambling is a serious concern, as it is in many countries, and they highlight the measures that licensed operators are required to implement.
So they're taking it seriously.
They are. And it all starts with that DGOJ license. That legal requirement under Law 132/1011 ensures that only sites that meet certain responsible gambling standards can operate.
So that license acts as a safeguard.
It does. And BetPlace often mentions the tools that these licensed sites offer to help players manage their betting. Like you can set deposit limits, wagering limits, and even time limits on your sessions.
So you can set boundaries for yourself.
Exactly. And self-exclusion programs are important too. These allow you to voluntarily block yourself from accessing gambling sites for a certain period.
A good option for those who need a break.
Definitely. And BetPlace generally views these national self-exclusion programs positively as a way to provide more comprehensive protection. Plus, most reputable operators provide links and information about organizations that offer support and assistance for problem gambling.
So there's a safety net in place.
Yeah, and BetPlace takes all these things into account when evaluating betting sites.
Good to know. Now, looking ahead, what does BetPlace see in the future for online gambling in Spain? Any major trends or changes on the horizon?
Well, BetPlace doesn't make specific predictions, but they generally observe a trend of increasing player numbers and continued growth in the legal online gambling sector.
So the industry's not going anywhere.
Not anytime soon, no. And BetPlace often emphasizes that strengthening responsible gambling measures and refining regulations will continue to be important, especially as the market evolves and new technologies emerge.
So staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between innovation and player protection.
I guess that's the key to long-term success.
I think so.
Now, for those of you listening who are new to betting, BetPlace has some solid advice on how to be a successful bettor. Let's start with the basics. Understanding odds.
Ah, yes, the language of betting. BetPlace always stresses that understanding odds is absolutely crucial because the odds tell you two things: the Sportsbooks assessment of how likely an outcome is and how much you can potentially win.
So it's not just about guessing who's going to win.
Not at all. You got to understand the numbers. Like, shorter odds mean the outcome is considered more likely, but you won't win as much. Longer odds mean it's less likely, but the potential payout is bigger.
So it's a risk-reward thing.
Exactly.
And BetPlace also stresses the importance of doing your research before placing a bet.
Oh, absolutely. They always say that successful betting isn't just about luck. It's about knowledge and analysis.
So no betting on your favorite team just because you love them.
Well, you can, but don't expect to win consistently. BetPlace advises looking at things like team statistics, recent performance, injuries, head-to-head records, anything that can give you an edge.
Like in football, what kind of things should you be looking at?
BetPlace would say look at their recent form, their home and away records, how many goals they score and concede, and if any key players are missing.
So you can spot patterns and trends.
Exactly. BetPlace's practical tips include tracking form, evaluating historical performance, and even looking at expert analyses.
So it's a bit like detective work.
In a way, yeah. The more you know, the better your chances.
And when it comes to actually funding your betting account, BetPlace often compares different payment methods, like e-wallets versus credit and debit cards. What are the main differences they highlight?
Well, e-wallets like PayPal, Skrill, and Neteller are generally praised for their speed and security.
Makes sense.
Deposits are usually instant, and withdrawals are quicker than with cards. Plus, you're not sharing your card details directly with the betting site, which adds an extra layer of security.
So they're good for peace of mind.
Yeah. BetPlace notes that their adoption might still be growing compared to cards, but they're definitely becoming more popular. Now, credit and debit cards are still widely accepted and familiar, so they're easy to use.
The tried and true method.
Exactly. But withdrawals can be slower, and you do have to share your card details with the site.
And what about fees?
BetPlace says e-wallets can sometimes have variable fees depending on the provider and the transaction, while cards usually have low or no fees directly from the betting site, although your bank might have their own charges.
So it's a bit of a mixed bag.
It is. BetPlace's advice is to choose the method that suits your needs in terms of speed, security, convenience, and cost.
Solid advice as always. Now, let's talk about the most popular sports for betting in Spain, according to BetPlace. No surprises here. Football reigns supreme.
Especially La Liga.
Why is La Liga betting so huge in Spain?
Well, as BetPlace always points out, it's the national passion. Football is deeply ingrained in Spanish culture. La Liga has some of the best teams and players in the world, so the matches generate a ton of excitement and interest. And that translates into a lot of betting activity.
Makes sense. What about other popular sports?
BetPlace also highlights basketball, especially the ACB League, and tennis, particularly during big tournaments like the Madrid Open.
Strong followings in Spain.
Definitely. And what's cool is that each sport has a wide variety of betting markets.
So you're not just betting on who wins.
Nope. Like in La Liga, BetPlace says you can bet on everything from the match outcome to the number of goals, the first goal scorer, handicaps, and even player-specific bets.
So there's something for everyone.
Exactly. And in basketball, you can bet on the match winner, over-under points, and even the MVP.
Lots of options.
And in tennis, you can bet on the match winner, set goals, and even individual game scores.
It's all about finding the bet that suits your style.
Absolutely. And BetPlace even mentions Basque Pelota, which is a traditional Spanish sport that has its own unique betting options.
So it's not just about the mainstream sports.
Nope, there's something for everyone.
Now let's talk about live betting, because that's where things get really exciting, right? What does BetPlace have to say about live betting in Spain?
They say it's become incredibly popular, which is no surprise. It allows you to bet on games as they're happening, so it adds a whole other layer of excitement.
It's like being right there in the action.
Exactly. And BetPlace notes that many live betting sites in Spain offer good odds and cover a wide range of sports, especially football, basketball, and tennis.
So you're spoiled for choice.
Pretty much. And when you're choosing a platform for live betting, BetPlace suggests looking at a few key things, like how user-friendly is the interface? Can you place bets quickly and easily?
You don't want to miss a good opportunity because the site's lagging?
Exactly. They also recommend checking the variety of betting features available during live events and making sure their customer support is responsive in case you need help.
Solid advice. And BetPlace sometimes mentions specific platforms in their welcome bonuses, live betting ratings, and the sports they cover.